Hey everybody, this is Sonnie Bryant Bedard coming to you today with We Live Here, We Love Here, We Work Here. Thank you so much for joining my series. Today we have Jeff Steffens. Most of you know that he's my go-to mortgage guy with Fairway Mortgage. Jeff has got some really cool information. Tell them about it, Jeff. What's going on now in the mortgage world?
Well, let's talk about the cash guarantee.
Cash guarantee. Did you guys hear that? Cash guarantee.
How do we turn your first-time buyer, second-time buyer into a buyer that can compete with cash offers, right? So that's been the struggle for the last 2 years. We go into market, we pre-approve a buyer. It's a 3.5% down FHA loan. You go to submit your offer on the property you've fallen in love with. There's 20 offers in with your offer. Yours happens to be the highest price, but you're up against a cash offer. And cash, well, cash always wins, right?
Cash is king.
So when we looked at the market and we look at some of the opportunities to make a change and impact to the buyers that we work with on a day-to-day basis, we came out with the cash guarantee pre-approval. So what is that? How does it work? What are the mechanics of it, right? Most people know that on a pre-approval, you sit down with a lender, you run through your income, you run through your assets, you pull your credit report, you take a look at the credit score, and then you mash all those pieces together and you come up with here's a monthly payment that we can afford, which is your maximum monthly payment. Now that's maybe more than what you want. And in most instances when we give a number,
you don't have to spend that much, that's what you can get.
Correct. In most instances we get that number and people take a deep breath and we actually move back in their seat and say, I would never spend that on rent or on a monthly payment. And we understand that, but we just take it to what your max number is, and then you shop within that range of homes, right? So that's normally where it ends. That's normally where it stops. We give you your pre-approval letter and we send you out, and then when you find the property, you come back and then we collect more updated data and we submit you to underwriting. With the cash guarantee, we've taken that further step, that next step, and made it the first step. So when you come to see us, we're going to ask you to bring in 2 paycheck stubs and 2 months worth of bank statements.
2 bank statements.
I'm going to ask for 2 years of W-2s. If you've worked at different places over the last 2 years, that's fine. But I need all the W-2s over the last 2 years.
So get that 2 bank statements,
two paycheck
stubs, and 2 W-2s of 2 years.
Yep, 2s are always important. We're going to collect that data. We're going to create a TBD, or to be determined property within our system. I'm actually going to trigger it, which means we go to application, you sign all of your documents, and then I submit you to underwriting. The loan goes into underwriting, they will underwrite the file, and they will come back with underwriter conditions. Underwriting conditions are just a fancy way of saying the underwriter has questions. That's it. We're just answering questions about things we submitted. We gave them documents, they looked at it and went, hey, I have a question, we're going to answer the question. We submit that information back in, they give me an approval. It's now a fully underwritten loan that has an underwriter approval, and the moment that underwriter approval comes out, they issue an addendum that we send to you.
And this is all, keep in mind, this is all before
you've
even gone shopping with
now,
your
you can be
realtor.
Shopping with my pre-approval letter,
sure.
and we're doing this in the background, but traditionally this is done now prior to even going out into market. That whole process will take somewhere between 5 and 7 days. It's not a long period of time.
Right.
We have to submit, and we underwrite, and we come back out. The addendum goes to Sonnie. The first piece of the addendum that jumps off the page in most people is the removing of the financing contingency. It's gone. It now says
no financing
we're removing the financing contingency. In that same language is verbiage that says we're going to remove the financing contingency. Should something happen prior to closing that is credit or income related, Fairway Independent Mortgage will step in place of your buyer and will buy the home for the agreed upon price or the appraised value, whichever is less.
Can you repeat that just a little bit louder for the people in
A
the back?
little louder in the back row. If for whatever reason your financing fails for income or credit prior to your closing on the property that you have under contract, Fairway Independent Mortgage will step in and we will become the buyer and we will pay cash for the property.
It's unheard of. That's unheard of.
So now you've got a contingency removed for financing. You have us saying we'll come in and give you cash. What happens if the seller says to you, you know what, this has been way too much of a hassle, I want out? We'll give them the release even though we've been the assigned new buyer, and we'll give them $10,000 for their trouble. So they can put it back in the market, get 10 grand, we all wash our hands and walk away. Have we had to do it
You can't
yet?
beat that.
No, we haven't had to do it yet because once you're into a transaction, most sellers want to continue the transaction.
They want
Most
it to go
sellers
through.
want to move. Most sellers want to go on with their lives. The buyer, of course, wants to buy, but if they can't perform because let's say they lost a job, let's say they've died, right? It's a financing contingency, but they no longer exist. We step in and buy the home for it. We don't want to own the home. We're not going to be a landlord. We're going to put it back in the market, and that's a whole different set of circumstances
Right.
that come down the pipe. But that's our problem, not yours. It's our problem, not the sellers. It's our problem, not the listing agents, right?
Or not the buyers.
Or not the buyers, right? Well, in that instance, yeah, definitely
Well,
not the buyers. Problem, right? So what we're trying to do is make it so that your VA offer, your FHA offer, your 3% down conventional offer stands side by side with the cash, because now we remove financing contingencies.
What this means for buyers then is huge, because someone who typically does not have that large amount of money to do a cash offer,
Correct.
all of a sudden is financing, but yet their offer is cash.
Their offer is cash.
So you're standing toe to toe with someone who's
Toe-to-toe.
got big dollars.
Correct.
That's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
no one
pretty
else is
excited
doing
about
that in the market.
No one
This
else
is
doing that in the market.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty exciting.
awesome.
And then last but not least, it's actually it should be comforting for the seller. You now are under contract with somebody, not only is there a financing contingency, but there's a removal of the financing contingency, but there is cash standing there, and should anything happen up to closing that is financing related, we're stepping in. So we're not gonna die, we're not gonna lose our job, we're not gonna disappear. We're there. So there is comfort across the spectrum for all parties as they go into the transaction.
That's awesome. You know, so often consumers are hearing, oh, the market's tight, this is bad, it's all doom and gloom. And that's really not the case. There really is a lot of opportunity out there to sell a home, to buy a home, phenomenal ways to finance. Now if you're financing, you're now a cash offer.
Now a cash buyer.
With your own financing, so that's absolutely incredible. Again, Jeff with Fairway Mortgage, thank you so much for being with me, Jeff. I appreciate it. I know that the viewers appreciate it. We got a lot of comments last time on, the fact that they were interested. I got a lot of private messages asking you questions, so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Always good to be here.
You as well. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next Monday on We Live Here, We Love Here, We Work Here on Sold by Sonnie.